Hey, hello, my friends. It is Thursday, 5 p.m. You know what time that is? It is time for Radiant Rap. You can come listen if you want. Okay. All right. I thought that today I would talk a little bit about walking and running. Now, the conditions aren't perfect. Like I wanted to kneel down. I didn't think ahead of time. The grass is wet, so I can't really kneel down. So we'll see how long I can squat in this position while I talk about a few things before I do a couple of demonstrations. Um, I was doing an assessment, two assessments I've done in the last couple of weeks, and we have a program within Silver Sneakers that discusses walking. So I wanted to share about that. You know, we talk about all things radiant. Radiant is an acronym for rest, activity awareness, diet, introspection, agua, uh, note taking, journaling, and training. So this goes into training and activity awareness, really. And I'll tell you why in just a moment. So the assessments had both of one had to do with walking, one had to do with running. And just in general, if you're all trainers that have been around for a while, teachers, trainers, you cannot help but watch body mechanics. Like you see things all the time, just in people's stride, in their form, their alignment, their posture, all that. It just you see it, and you can pretty much get a lot of information that something is going on with hips, knees, ankles. If not, it's going to be because there are just patterns. So let me just say what I am not. Okay. I am not an expert runner. That is not what I do. Right. And I am not even, a runner as a trainer, as a experience where like I wasn't a collegiate runner or anything like that. I'm not even a great runner. Okay. Let me tell you what I am. I have run a marathon, a full marathon in 2010, a half marathon, tons of 10Ks and 5Ks. So I have that experience. And like I said, I've been in wellness now for over 20 years. So with yoga and um, with weight training, personal training, teaching classes, that's the experience I come by. But I did want to double check when I did one assessment. So I reached out to one of my friends and one of my first teachers 20 years ago, Mo. I reached out to her. She is a very experienced runner, and she's an exercise science professor at USF, and she's just a wealth of knowledge. So I ran my uh, my assessment and my thoughts by her. And I also have a lot of resources. Okay. So if there's want anything that you want to go deeper into, I can definitely steer you in the right direction. So the purpose of today is to just talk about very basic walking techniques and the difference between the walking techniques and the running techniques. Not running for professionals. That's not what I'm talking about. I'm just talking about the layman person like me that wants to get out and do a jog, right? Or somebody that's, maybe not even older, just a beginner that wants to run. So there's certain things that are exactly the same, and there are certain things that are very different if you are walking and if you are running. Okay. So one of the things that is exactly the same is you have to have good form. So before you even take a step, I would encourage you to get a profile shot, head straight on shot and side profile shot. Let somebody take a full from head to toe picture of you just standing straight. That might give you a lot of information right there. Okay. So number one, you have to have good form and good alignment, even when you're just standing still. And a lot of us don't. A lot of us are standing with our head in front. I mean, of us, like a lot of us are standing like this. This is one, like this. When we're standing straight. And if we're asked to stand straight, you might come here. Or some of us are here, right? And they're arch in the back, and this is really stretched out because there are muscular imbalances. A lot of that has to do with hip flexors. It has to do with weakness in the neck, weakness in the shoulders, tightness in the chest. So things like yoga and stretching can help you to correct muscle imbalances. All right. And I should say, start from the feet up. So that's number two. You want to have good alignment. And if you can, let somebody have them take a picture, but let them tell you what they see. If it can be a professional, that'd be even better. And I'd be happy to do an assessment for you if you'd like. You want ears over shoulders, shoulders over hips, hips over knees, knees over ankles, right? And you have to make sure that you have really good shoes. So that's number two, because if you pronate or you super pronate, right, your ankles collapse or your feet are turned out or your feet are too turned in, that can cause not only discomfort but injury, right? So you want to make sure that you have good supportive shoes. And even my runners, if your shoes are over 6 months old and you run 20 miles a week or more, you probably need some new shoes. And some of you have shoes that you're running in that are 4 and 5 years old. And so even though they could look good on the outside, the shock absorption in the shoes are no good. So speaking of shock absorption, that's one of the things that we want to make sure that we're doing. We're not putting too much stress on the hip and the knee joint. So here we go for walking. Now, this is what we're doing with our seniors. We encourage a heel strike. Now, you don't want a hard heel strike, but you want to hear a heel strike. So that helps you to lift the toes with the walk, right? You don't want to do it too hard so that, and you don't want your gait too big so that you're locking out your knees, okay? But you want to stick with the heel. And it used to be like that in running. That's what they used to tell us to do. And when I was talking to Mo, she used the term that I wasn't familiar with, but I am familiar with the technique, mid foot strike. Okay, so with walking, you want heel strike, not a hard heel strike, because that is going to or could cause pressure in your knees and in your hips. Okay, but you want heel strike because, like a lot of seniors, especially if you're dragging those toes, that's how you're going to be more likely to trip, right? So you got to pick up your feet. And speaking of which, another thing I didn't mention that is the same is you don't want to look straight down, because that's going to throw off your alignment, your form. So you look down, but you're looking out, not like straight down, walking or running. Okay, so those are the two things that are like your chest, your heart is up towards the sky. You're not running like bent at your hip and running forward or walking forward. Okay, So that's what's the same. Your alignment is the same, but that foot strike is what is different. So with running, you want to foot to almost like off the ground. And the reason that you're doing that, no matter how fast your pace is, the reason that you're doing that is so that you can protect the knees. And I like the way Mo said this too, that really running is a controlled fall, because you are, I look at it as the balance, you're landing on one foot and then the other. And so, and a lot of us are not running on tracks. We're outside on some concrete. That's a lot of pressure and stress on your knees and your hips. So this way, this mid-foot strike will enable us to put less pressure on our hips and on our knees, and allow us to run for a much longer period of time in terms of age, and decrease the amount of injury, right? Chance of injury. Do you have any questions? If you do, let me know. Oh, and she did give me a reference of someone that she uses that has like videos that you can Google. So I forget his name, but I'll put that in the chat. That's what I wanted to tell you about the techniques of walking and running. What's similar is that you've got to have good form. You've got to have good alignment. Keep the chest lifted, right? And I see stuff like this, especially with the running. I see stuff like that, and the girls swinging feet out. I see so much stuff out, of course, if you have an injury, you just have to deal with what you have. But I would say to make your strides smaller and maybe pick up your cadence, work on increasing your cadence, but maybe decreasing your stride, and work more on the push off, right? As opposed to stretching your legs out as far like the Olympic runners. No, that is going to put a lot of stress on your knees. So you might have to decrease your stride some if you're running, make smaller steps and make more of them. That's increasing your cadence. All right. I hope that was helpful and not confusing. Alignment, the same. Have good shoes. Don't look straight down. Those are the things that are the same. The things that are different, when you're walking, more of a heel strike, not a hard heel strike where you straighten your knee out completely, but you're standing tall and maybe you shorten your gait. For running, it's a mid-foot strike. That might be something that takes a little time to get used to. So you would have to do it over a period of time. Just do a little bit of your run like that, and maybe the rest of the run you're running your regular way. Stretching and strength training will help to improve your walk and run, because it'll help improve your posture, and it will help to correct muscular imbalances. I hope that was helpful. Have a great evening, my friends. Love you. Nothing you can do about it. You do have greatness inside of you, and I believe in you. Bye for now.